Welcome to Cake with Care C. I'm your host, Care C, and I am here with the regular co-host, Kinetic 100.
Good.
Hello, hello.
Good. Hello. How are you?
Um, I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Good. Busy week, but we're here.
As usual, as usual. And
Uh,
um, and you were here on time. I'll let Miss Super Nerd here, if she can hear us. She's either en route or just touched down from her trip, so unfortunately she's not here live with us. She may, if she can do it, she might join the conversation a little later, and we look forward to that and all her stuff, everything she brings to the show every week. But if not, know that she will be back next week. In the meantime, I just want to thank everyone who has already tuned into the show, and to ask you to send this link to invite all your friends. We got a special show tonight, and I'd love to reach as many people as possible. Best place to listen and watch the show as usual, vexradio.com, or you can actually interact with us. At some point during the show, I will post the link where you can actually click using Google Hangouts and join the conversation with any of your questions, comments, or personal stories that you may have surrounding this issue that we're going to be discussing tonight. And I'm going to jump right into that, actually, just because we have a few very special guests who've made some time to talk with us tonight and shed a little light and enlighten us all on a incident that happened recently that I just became aware of not too long ago. And I think it's something that we should all know, being wherever you live, but especially if you're a citizen of Canada and more specifically Ontario. And because we're all a part of this, we all benefit from the work that these men do. And I think when you hear the details of the situation, I think a move to action is necessary. And so we're going to discuss the incident and what we can do to help the gentlemen that have been affected by this. So tonight we have a couple of representatives from the Jamaican Canadian Association. So we have Audrey Campbell, past president. Hello and welcome.
Hi, Karen. Thanks for having us.
Definitely. And Alton Brooks, who is the Director of Communication, he's going to be joining us shortly. And Michael Carter, who is the person who actually brought this to my attention and arranged for this all to happen tonight. So thank you all for being here and welcome. So Audrey,
Thank you.
if we could start with, yes, if we could start with you, Audrey, just if you could, I guess, introduce yourself to everyone and let us know more about the Jamaican Canadian Association. And it does say past president, but you're still involved, so I'm interested in knowing how you're still involved with the association.
Well, thank you for the opportunity. The Jamaican Canadian Association is a members organization. In 1962, September 1962 in Toronto. And the date is significant because 1962 was when Jamaica got their independence from British rule. And to celebrate, the Jamaicans in Toronto decided to, number one, celebrate the Day of Independence. And secondly, they thought, wow, we did this. Look at all the Jamaicans in this city. And they decided to form a members organization. And that organization has been around for the past 54 years. It has been on the forefront of social change within the city of Toronto. The first president of JCA, Mr. Roy Williams, from back in 1962, he was also the first person of color on the Toronto Police Services Board.
Oh, wow.
So the JCA has very deep roots in this country. And when it was first formed, one of the things it did was a settlement program, which is when folks came in from Jamaica or even anywhere in the Caribbean that were, seeking how to navigate this new country, immigration officers used to call folks at the JCA who would then come out to the airport and meet these folks and help them settle. And it just continued from that point forward. Our organization is located in the Jane Finch corridor, 995 Arrow Road, and we are there specifically because of the need in that area, and we offer social programs as well. Some of them are government funded. So it was a natural fit that when we found out about the plight of the farm workers, 33 of them, who on July 28th, there was a fire at their bunker and they lost everything. If you can imagine that these farm workers, some of them have been coming up for over 30 years to this country. The money that they earn is what sustains them for the year until they return. So it helps to feed their families. It helps to clothe their families, send their kids to school. It helps to pay the rent, pay the mortgage, pay the hydro bill. It helps them to survive because there's a very high unemployment rate on the island. So it was significant when, as they were in the fields harvesting the vegetables that end up in our grocery stores that we benefit from, they found out that there was a fire in their bunker. And you or I, if we're on the job and we hear there's a fire at our home, what do? Immediately drop everything and we rush
Of course. Yeah.
to get there. Unfortunately, they weren't allowed to. They had to finish that day's work, and we're talking 12, 13-hour days.
Wow.
And then they found out that they had lost everything.
Wow.
I mean, passport, documents, money. A lot of them didn't have bank accounts, so all the cash they've been hoarding, things they've purchased for their families, equipment for their farms, everything was lost in the fire. All they had at the end of the day were the clothes on their backs. And the farmer found other lodgings for them. So the story got out. We were contacted by an organization called Justica, and what they do is they advocate for farm workers overall, for the rights of farm workers. They brought it to our attention, and immediately Alton, he's the one that took the lead on this, and he contacted the farm. He got a hold of the farm workers. He found out exactly what was going on, and he organized for us to go up there, meet with them. We had already started raising donations for them, food, some clothing, cash that we were able to take up there. And one of the things I absolutely love about this country is how everybody mobilizes around a common cause. We were very fortunate to have a food bank in Malton. It was and the name escapes me, and Alton has all that critical information. But it was a Punjabi-based food bank, and they contacted myself and the president of the association, Adoma Patterson, and they told us to come by. They've got some, food donations. We got there with our car and thought, okay, so we'll get a couple bags of this, a couple bags of that. They literally had 20, big bags of rice, flour, bread, margarine.
Wow.
It couldn't fit in the car. It literally couldn't fit in the car. And we said, we can't take everything. And they said, you don't worry. Give us the address of the farm in Brantford and we'll meet you there.
Wow.
And they literally packed a pickup truck. They met us up at the farm and they unloaded all the things. So it was incredible to see the generosity of our community.
Amazing. But
yeah.
I mean, and it sounds like a lot, but I know that there's still help needed. And I've had some people actually messaging me right now because I have the link up still on my Instagram bio about the story and how to donate. So that is still welcome and still happening.
Absolutely.
Just for a couple people who've messaged me. So yes, we're going to get to that as well and how we can help. So we'll get to that part of the story as well. I noticed Alton is here.
Yes. Please
twice. He's here 2 times.
I am there twice. I'm not sure how that happened.
Okay, but welcome.
Excuse the late arrival, as I had some challenges with Hangouts. I'm not good at hanging out, I guess.
Not a problem. Well, you're here now.
Don't worry, Alton. I'm in your camp.
But so can you tell us a little bit about your involvement in this incident and with the JCA as well?
Yeah, like currently I am the director of communications for the JCA, so I'm involved in what goes out there from an organization standpoint, events that we do, things we get involved with, and this is one of those initiatives that came up pretty much just out of nowhere, as
Mm-hmm.
we had a good couple of weeks leading up to our annual gala, and then we heard about this event that happened with the farm workers, and that kind of touched us in a way, so we decided to help, and not knowing that, once we got there, we would see that, they really have a bigger need than just us helping out only once, because, it kind of reality hit when we kind of, talked to them for the couple hours we saw there. So from that standpoint, we, took it upon ourselves to, try to help them as much as we could until they return back home, which begins next month. So
Mm-hmm.
that's been part of what we've been doing is, spending time talking to them, getting to know who they are. And if you've been following some of the newspapers in the last few weeks, we've been helping to tell some of their stories in those papers. Toronto Caribbean will be spotlighting them in their paper this week as well. So, our thing is just to put a humanistic side to them, to show them that, people care,
Mm-hmm.
and that we will try to help them out as much as they can in a short period of time to do so.
Okay. And Mr. Carter, you're
Hi,
here with
Karen.
your pet crickets. Thanks again for bringing this to my attention and making this all happen. So I just wanted to make sure everybody heard a little bit about what you do and your involvement here in this how this is developing as well. If you
Well,
tell us
first of
all.
all, thank you so much for doing this, Karen. This is really awesome for you and your team. We appreciate it.
Mhm.
And
My pleasure, for sure.
as both Alton and Audrey have indicated, it is one of those causes or one of those things that you do hear, and it's very difficult for you not to want to do something about it, or at least bring some type of action. And
Hmm.
so when I heard about it from Audrey and Alton, it was just one of those things where I thought just maybe I could do something very, very, very tiny. And, really, I have to give the credit to Audrey and Alton and Adomo and the rest of the team at the JCA for doing what they do. I'm just a tiny, tiny microcosm of it. And I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy that we are making some traction and getting some help where it's needed for these people. All of us who came from an island, sort of know a little bit about it. When I was a kid, I mean, I remember my great grand uncle doing the same thing,
Hmm.
doing farm working. So, a lot of people depend on it, and the fact that you have a bunch of people who've lost uh, everything,
Hmm.
and you can only imagine when you're in a situation like that and you're not sure what the next step might be or might not be. And having people come to your aid is the least that we can do. So I'm really happy that we've made some traction, and we'll see how it goes.
Okay. And how are they doing? How are the workers for the most part right now? Just
Well, they are actually in good spirits. I mean,
okay.
one of the things with people who work hard as a whole, and just folks who just want to earn what they get in life, they always seem to be in good spirits.
Hmm.
So for even though they have lost pretty much everything that they brought to Canada in the last 2 or 3 years, because some of them do bring back their savings to try to buy something of value, to bring
Oh,
back
wow.
the machinery, or a large tool item, or something they can use to make money while they go back. They do
Hmm.
save up and try to buy these things, and unfortunately, all of that cash was destroyed in the fire.
Hmm.
But in spite of that, they still have a positive disposition. We have been having partners, such as a couple of church groups who've actually been bringing items to them in the last couple of weeks, and they always call and are so thankful for just any little bit that they may get from any donation. And it's just a lot of just really good guys. They're family guys. They're here looking after their families. They got wives, they got children, they got family that depend on them to
Hmm.
bring back something with them to last 6 months until they can go back to make some more money. Unfortunately, that won't happen for them this time like it usually would, but they are still in a very positive frame of mind. And they're actually very surprised at the amount of love they've received from the community, because being out there, they actually don't have internet, they don't have TV, so
Mhm.
they have a phone, but they communicate mostly with their family back home with that. And
Mhm.
just to know that folks are even 2 hours away and willing to drive up there to check on their well-being and to see that they're okay and to try to help them, restore some of what they lost. They're very extremely appreciative of that, and they are
Mhm.
extremely thankful. But they're a fun-loving group of guys. They have a guy actually within the group who actually makes the crates that they use
Oh
to put
wow.
some of their belongings to bring back to Jamaica. He's actually a crate maker of all things. So,
Wow.
unfortunately, the crates all got destroyed, but he's been trying to build them back one by one as each week go by, so that every guy has another crate that they can ship back home. So
Mhm.
they've been buying the lumber and the nails and everything else to try to build that back. So there's good camaraderie there. They pull for one another, and our job is just to try to just ease the blow for them a little bit, so that when they go back, they can, even if it's a $20 or $30 in their pocket, it can get them to relicense themselves with their licenses for driving were destroyed, or
Wow.
they can pay a school fee, or they can do something just to help themselves.
No, that's
Now,
tough to hear. Just because I've heard how hard the work is and the amount of hours that they put in. Correct me if I'm wrong. I recently found out that these men actually pay their own fare to come here and return. I don't know if that depends on the employer that they're with, but I know someone who recently came up, a friend of a friend, and he had to pay his own plane fare
Oh yeah,
to
I
come.
mean, what happens is if you happen to come via the employer paying your fare, you
Hmm.
still have to pay that back.
Right,
So it's not you come here for free. There's no free lunch, as they would say.
right.
So if it's a subsidized flight, then before you get paid, a portion of your payment goes towards paying back for that flight. So
Hmm.
before you actually get fully paid, your ticket's already paid before you.
Hmm.
So that's something that happens. Another thing that happens too is that not every location allows you to have a day off. And unfortunately for these farmers, they work
Hmm.
7 days a week.
Wow.
So if you can imagine, from March or April, working every single day of the week without taking
Mm-mm.
a break, even on holidays,
Mm-mm.
how
Wow.
you would feel with your employer about that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what
Mm-mm.
we've asked, or via the Ontario government and the foreign workers program. That's what happens to these workers, that their employment is based on what the employer wants, and if they want 7 days a week, that's what they get. And unfortunately, there's not a break for these gentlemen. And on a Friday or Saturday evening is their time to go out, buy a few groceries before heading back to work the next day. And
Wow.
there's no sick pay, there's no time off, there's no
Mm.
I got to tend to myself or tend to a wound. It's right back
Mm,
out the next day. And this is the kind
mhm.
of life that they have to put up with to earn a living. I mean, it's better than staying home in their home country and not having anything to do. But at the same time, it's not something that anyone here in Ontario would want to have themselves go through.
No.
So I do
Mhm.
feel some of these, legislations and laws at the higher level need to be looked at
Mm-hmm.
some point, to allow them some kind of, better way of helping us put vegetables and fruits on our table, but being more humane about how it's
Mm-hmm.
done, the living conditions that they live in, the working conditions, being out there, 10, 12 hours a day, and, just, barely, getting enough breaks to hand and right back to work the next day. So these
Mhm.
are, the realities of the program. I mean, it's bigger than us in a sense of it's country to
Mhm.
country difference, but at the same time, it's not an easy environment to work
Yeah.
through every
And
single
and
day of the week.
and if I can add to what Alton is saying as well, um, Justica, and I can't remember the full name of Justica Alton. That organization is currently looking at the farm workers situation on a whole,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
and they are actively lobbying the government, various levels of government, to bring some
Mm-hmm.
awareness to that. But in
Mm-hmm.
terms of our focus being on those farm workers, we want to thank folks like Michael was kind enough through his connections to get Giant Tiger to donate gift cards for the workers.
Wow.
So, you know, gift cards are important. The donations that we're getting, we're going to be using the donations to purchase gift cards because that's the fairest and most equitable way to get those into the hands of those farm workers. For folks who have donated. And also, I was just looking that up, it is so important on a whole to donate to food banks. Because the food bank in Malton, and Alton, forgive me if I'm not pronouncing this right, I think it's Dham, D-H-A-M, food bank in Malton. They were the ones who literally gave us a pickup truck plus carloads of groceries to take up there. And they were very thoughtful in what they donated. They donated rice, they donated, you know, flour, things that the workers could use, plus stuff that they could potentially take home as well. And we're running out of time. These Alton, I believe they're leaving in October?
That's correct. They beginning in October, so each week a certain amount of them will be heading back.
If we may, I'd like to kind of revisit the working conditions, and this applies to all three of you, the working conditions of, you know, and how they contribute to, you know, the Ontario region and I guess the rest of Canada, and more specifically, what is it that they need that we can, you know, focus and pinpoint that And then I guess we'll start with Alton, then we can go to Audrey and Michael.
Yeah, if you can just repeat that for me.
Yeah, please.
I think the question was to focus on, asking you, Alton, what is it that you know and believe that the farm workers need most urgently?
Well, what I would suggest at this point, with a very short period of time for them still left here, what I believe they need most is A, cash, and B, the second would be, you know, gift cards where they can go out and just purchase things that they need specifically for their own family. So I would say that is a direct need. Some of them, not every one of them may necessarily need a food item per se. You know, some may have, you know, children or other family members that they want to get specific things for. You know, a gift card may be able to do that. And as well, you know, cash is also welcome because when they land back in Jamaica, it's a cash society. Everything has to be paid in cash. So if we can, you know, help them by putting a $50 in each of their pockets, that would be helpful as well. So cash and gift cards at this point are the main priorities, and that's what we plan to hopefully bring to them on the 18th when we return to their camp.
And can we bring a names to humanize the situation and how many of them there are? You know, is it 5 workers? Is it 100 workers? Is it 1,000 workers?
I think it's what, 32, 33? I think it was.
It's actually 33 individuals. However, physically here are 32 members.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, one of the individuals was so shaken by the event that he just couldn't see himself staying, you know, after the event happened. And, you know, just, you know, on a psychological basis, you know, a lot of these guys didn't have someone to talk to. They didn't have anyone to give them some support. And, you know, he just felt that he just couldn't handle being here. So he, you know, was able to leave and go back to Jamaica, basically, because he was just so down and distraught about the whole situation. So
one of the things that really disturbed me was the fact that I heard, and you guys had iterated, one of you had reiterated it, is that they couldn't stop working. They had to complete the day while the stuff was being earned. So that's why I wanted to touch on the working conditions. I didn't want to lead the conversation, but I wanted the listeners to understand that imagine you're at work, your building's on fire, your home is on fire, you're losing everything, but your working conditions dictate that you cannot stop to go attend and try to put out the flames and to for them to understand the psychological, I guess, state of mind of knowing that you're working in the fields doing this stuff while your stuff is burning. You lose everything, and this is a country
no,
that
and,
is
and,
benefiting from and sorry.
and just to add some context to that,
Mm-hmm.
the guys were not able to actually, even see what happened to their to their
Oh,
homes
really?
until about
mhm,
48 hours after it happened.
Wow.
They were told that pretty much, the place was gone.
Mm.
They had to sleep in a hotel overnight,
Mm-hmm.
and it was only after they
Do
finished
they have to
working.
pay for that?
No, I
Don't
can't
believe
imagine
no,
that.
I don't
no,
believe that they had to pay for
no.
that. No,
I don't
but
believe so either.
basically, they did not see what happened till about 48 hours after the fact,
Mm.
and they had to go to work after spending that night in the hotel. Yes,
Mm-mm.
they work continued as usual, and there was no timeout, to go even and say goodbye.
Yeah,
Gosh.
but
Or just to
even
make
to
sense of it, just like to see it, and know, I think that's something we all would want to do is just to see, okay, can anything be salvaged? Like, is there anything, especially when I read the part about wedding rings, and I mean, obviously we would think just this the attachment that they had to these things,
yeah.
and to where they had been calling home for however long they've been here. So, um,
And Karen, if I can even
mhm,
add one more layer to that,
mhm,
imagine being in a foreign country.
on top, mm-mm,
On top of that, knowing that your passport is gone, all your
mhm,
travel documents are gone.
mm-mm,
So add that fear on top of that.
mhm. I just couldn't imagine, like I could not imagine it, and it made me think as human beings and as individuals, and again, kinetic, what you said, just knowing that they had to continue working, and
Hmm.
just finding out from you all now that they had to actually report back the next day and the next day. And
Hmm.
it makes me wonder about, because I've read things online, I've heard things about, just the uh, health and safety, or the lack of, the coverage that they have, the employment standards, and things that we take for granted, things that we are covered, um, by as citizens of this country. And people, when they come here and are working just as hard or harder, that they don't benefit from that same type of, coverage or protection. And I'm hoping that an incident like this, and then the others that have happened in the past, um, will kind of trigger that, and like you all were saying, Alton, you were saying about the talks you're having now at with the various levels of government to bring change um, to these workers and these situations. Because I mean, I know it's so hard, and I don't really like going into too many personal stories here, but I know someone who, I know of someone through someone who was recently here, and after just a few weeks, he called it quits and left because of just how tough it was. And so for these people to be still dedicated to it and to have to do this type of work, knowing that they've lost it all, knowing, with all these question marks about their future, and, you know, what they're going to do when they go back home without the money that they had planned for. You know what I mean? And we know how it
Mhm.
is when money's coming, and this is, your third, fourth year. You probably already spent money that you
Hmm.
expecting. You know what I mean? And so now to go home without it, it just the snowball effect that it's going to have in their lives, and once they leave here, just how it's going to affect them. And Alton, hearing you saying if they can go back with 50 or even $100 in their pocket, that breaks my heart, just because
Hmm.
I was recently down in Jamaica. I go there. I'm of Jamaican heritage, and
Mhm.
it, we know that doesn't stretch very far,
It
especially in
No, it
certain
doesn't.
doesn't.
places,
It
right?
doesn't, but it's
No,
better
it
than nothing.
doesn't.
Better than nothing, yes. But I mean, so I'm really hoping that this show, and it is, thank God, it's a podcast that people can listen to over and over. And I'm going to push it that people can be touched to send. I mean, even if everybody sent X amount of dollars, it will all add up. And so, um, so you have a fund, and how will it be distributed amongst them all then, if cash is
Well,
being sent?
Well,
can
I
I
mean,
can I just jump in for a moment?
Yeah, sorry, I'm just curious.
something you just said, Karen, and
Yes.
I think if everybody
Ah.
if everybody sort of just think for a moment of how ridiculously hot it has been over the summer, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and just try imagining what that is like for someone to wake up at the crack of dawn, being in that heat for
Mm.
12 hours straight every single day without break,
Mm-mm.
and you have to do this, okay, and you've earned it. I mean, you've earned it 3 times over. And then
Mm-hmm.
try again to also think to yourself when you go somewhere, when you go on vacation, much less, especially when you leave to go somewhere for work, the things that you tend to carry with you is what reminds you of why you're there, whether it's a photo of your child or your
Mm.
daughter or your son or your wife.
Mm.
It's the Bible that, your great grandmother, your mother gave to you. It's
Wow.
all of those family mementos that keep you safe because let's be frank, you're not coming in and watching television and playing games. You're working and
Mm-hmm.
sleeping. And to be able to realize that all of that is
Mm.
gone, like it's just gone, there's nothing left.
Mm.
And you still have to go back to 12 hours of back-breaking work. You know, just that alone sort of sends a bit of shivers through your body. And, what I'm actually hoping is that, people who are listening can simply say, you know what, the when I open my email sometimes and I get these things that says boat cruises and clubs and whatever, and it's $20 and it's $25, just send an email transfer and get on. I think if everybody listening could just simply think for a moment and go, you know what, I can send 20, I really can.
Mm-hmm.
I can actually send 30, to be quite frank with you, I really could. And if we could all do that, I think the difference it would make to these people and beyond would be something that I think we would remember for a long time. My fear is that people may put it aside and go, I'll get to it because it's heartbreaking, so I'll do it next week and the week after. It's something
Mm-hmm.
we've got to do now. And I think
Well,
if everybody could do that, I think the help that we would give these people would make us feel good, but I think it would go a long way to making them whole.
Mm-hmm.
you guys actually kind of touched on where I was trying to lead this, and that's why I asked how many workers were there. And
Mhm.
another point, another thing I want to ask is, I want to actually pinpoint a goal line or I guess a donation line that we can hit a target, because I would like to know, do we have any idea of, like, I personally have an idea, but I'd like it to be related about how little these farmers get because they are working here. They're paying their expenses. They're paying basically their stay.
Mhm.
They're employed workers. So it doesn't come that they are just, working and gathering money. There's expenses that go towards it, and as I said, towards family and things of that nature. And they're here for a reason. They've left their family for months,
Mhm.
sometimes 6 months, 5 months, 4 months at a time.
Mm-hmm.
They
And
don't
you,
make the
you
amount of money that we think they make. Um,
and the other thing we have to keep in mind too is that they pay into, federal and Ontario taxes that
right,
they cannot
right,
claim.
Really?
yeah.
They have to pay federal taxes, Ontario taxes. They have to pay unemployment insurance that they
Their
themselves cannot
license,
claim
yeah.
if they
Wow.
lose their job.
That's what I
So,
said.
That's
There
incredible.
are expenses, and that's what I wanted to do. So I basically want to know if we could kind of touch on the average amount of money that they make, and then double that to send them home because they've lost. People have brought money back to buy equipment. They've tried to buy clothes. They've tried to save up things. What they've hustled
Mhm.
back home, and they're trying to maximize their dollar, and now they have lost everything. So that means
Mhm.
they've lost their personal money that they've made here, plus the money that they have made back. I mean, they've worked down there, the little it is, and they have all those expenses. Plus, they have to get back their licenses, their
Mm-hmm.
passports, and
Mhm.
all that is not donated. So there's extra expenses. So I'd like to kind of target the earnings that they make, and then let's divide that by 32, and then double that if we can touch on that.
well, what I could tell you is that, at least some of the guys who brought back what they made last year, just to
Mm.
give you an idea, average maybe about $2,000 or $3,000 per person.
Mm-hmm.
So, like one guy had in mind to buy a tractor, for instance, that he could ship back to Jamaica. So he's brought back 2 years worth of savings, which is about $5,000.
Wow.
Okay.
And he
Wow.
had
And
all of
lost it.
that lost with
Mhm.
whatever else he had earned this year that he
Jeez.
was planning to buy this tractor with. So a lot of them, they do save up for multiple years and bring back to try to buy a machinery or an item that they can use to try to make money while they're out there not earning anything. And but I would say probably between $2,000 to $3,000 or $4,000 is what they would take back with them after fully working for 8 to 10 months. And pretty much that
And
is lost
imagine
for all
that.
33 of them. It's
And
going to be a very difficult process to actually do that in a very short period of time. But if you can make it happen, we will not refuse it.
Right.
and
At this
if I
point,
can add something to that too, DJ Connect, you asked about humanizing it, right? Humanizing the people that have lost.
Yeah.
And some of the names, and I always tell this story, and for Karen, Jamaican heritage, you know that there's always a nickname, right? There was this young guy, so I asked him his name, and he says, what do you want, my government name or my nickname? So I said, I want both. So he says, well, my government name is Leonard, but my nickname is Brucky.
Okay.
So I said, so everybody's like, where does that come from? Does that mean you're broke all the time? He said, no, man. I broke my leg twice. So that's why they call me Brucky. So
And
we
he's
were
still
chatting
going.
about,
Yeah.
he was
Oh my
hilarious,
gosh.
but this was his second or third year coming up here.
Yeah.
And he's a young guy, and this was his opportunity, right? This was his opportunity. And now he's lost a year. That fire took that away from him. Whatever his aspirations, his dreams, because everybody has a plan. And his plan was gone. There was another gentleman, Ian, and by the way, Alton, Ian was the one who gave us directions back to Toronto. He knew the quickest way.
Oh, wow.
And he's been coming for years. I mean, he's like, no, man, you came the wrong way. Turn left at the end of the street. And we're like, really? We took the long way. But these guys were familiar with the farm. They come up every year. One gentleman, he's been coming for 30-odd years. This is what raised his family, put his children through school.
Wow.
Now he's into 34 years, and he's still doing 12, 13-hour days at his age. Right? And he knew he didn't have too many more years of this left.
Wow.
And in Jamaica, you don't have a pension as a farm worker. So you work at whatever age. It's what you eat, what you kill, what you make. So this is the hardship, right? So his families, they're waiting for him to come back with that money that will take them through.
Wow.
And now there's nothing, right?
Well, see, the thing is that I also want to reiterate and retouch on, and I think it's very important, is that for 5 to 6 months, imagine us in Canada living here, and it's harder in Jamaica to sidestep. But if we were for 5 6 months to walk away or go home with $2,000 to $4,000 after 5 months, 6 months.
Wow.
I want people to think about that, and there's and that's probably after expenses and things of that nature, and their plane fares and all that stuff. But I want people to think about you making $2,000 to $4,000, working 12 hours every day under heat and those conditions, to lose everything in a country that is not yours, but you've adopted that you've adopted and you know well. And just to think that you have to now go home and face your family with nothing.
And if I can just interject, I would love to let people know how they can donate now
please.
to this cause. And one of the main ways we've been suggesting to do it is just via your home computer, your smartphone. Just log into your bank account. We have a corporate email address for our accountant at the JCA under the treasurer@jcaontario.org email address. The password would be farm workers, and they can easily log into their bank of choice and send an email money transfer payment to treasurer@jcaontario.org. It is a corporate email address for the JCA handled by our accountant. Any deposit that goes in there will go directly towards the farm workers. So I encourage anyone listening right now, if they can do that, if you're within the North York area and you can come into 995 Ara Road, which is where the JCA is located, you can leave a check or money order or use a Visa or MasterCard if you wish to do that, and do a payment in person as well. So any payment, whether 5, 10, 20, 50, or 100, whatever payment you can make and have a heart to do that, we'll be thankful for it. The workers will be thankful for it, and the Lord will bless you.
Now, could we so we can rest assured to put our listeners to mind, because we've all heard it before, the proceeds go towards. Now, is it 100% of the proceeds going towards it? Is it 80%?
It would be 110%
100%.
towards it.
100%.
110%, Audrey,
Yep.
because we will take escrow and buy gas out of our own pockets to drive up.
Exactly.
Right.
And is it a tax receipt? Is it tax?
It is not tax deductible, as it is, for this particular purpose. It is not tax deductible
Set up
as far as
as
we're
a
told.
charity.
So, but we still encourage folks to give out of the willingness of their heart, and give if they can.
And how would they be able to follow up to make sure, not to say that you're untrustworthy, because we know this, but these are the questions that people have, I've been involved with in other fundraising abilities, and these are the questions that have been asked, so I'm just asking it on behalf of them
there are
to
multiple
rest assured
ways
yeah.
There are multiple ways people can stay in the know on this. One is to check our website, jcaontario.org. We do carry updates on this situation on our website, as well as our Facebook that you can like, which is Jamaican Canadian Association. Just like that on Facebook right now, and as soon as there's an update, you will be the first to get it. And once we do return up there on the 18th, we do plan to provide that update on how that get together went, and everyone will be updated via those methods as well.
And I just thought about it. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Sharon. And what is our date and deadline? When are when is the first set going back? When is the second set going back? Are they all going back at a certain time? We know some of them stuck because they have to get their travel documents and their visas the passports.
I understand the first set will be heading back the week of October 3rd.
Okay.
And then they will be basically rotated, little by little, week after week, there'll be another set leaving. So apparently there's approximately about 120 workers that work on that farm, but only the 33 were living in that facility.
Okay.
But they all will be returning starting the week of October 3rd.
Okay. I was just thinking about it, Facebook, and I know a lot of the Jamaican, like my friends' family, are active on Facebook just because of the way certain phone service providers down there have certain plans, and so unlimited Facebook is one of them. And so I'm hoping that that these men, when they go back, and they can share their story maybe on the site once they're down there. I know they don't have access to the internet here, but once they're back home, maybe they can. And some of them, you mentioned, some are older, not to discriminate based on age or anything like that, but we know some people don't really do the social media thing or get online too much. But that would be nice if they could be encouraged to somehow share their stories and how they were helped. But then it brought me back to, okay, they may have traveled with their phones, and do they even have phones? You know what I mean? So it's like it just brings you back to, okay, the basic needs again. And once they're back there, them having to hustle and make money. You know what I mean? And as thankful as they might be, it's like, okay, I don't have the luxury of time to sit down on social media. So it's I think a lot of it, we're just going to have to look at it and look at the situation for what it is. The site is great. It gives all the information, and just trust that you all are doing what you say you're doing with it. And like Michael was mentioning, these cruises and parties nowadays, I mean, tickets are $40 and $50. And so, and that's for 4 hours of fun that you hold on to, memories type thing, and you don't get anything back. You don't walk away from that party or that cruise with anything except for a good time, memories, maybe a hangover, I don't know. But it's like, but for the most part, I mean, so really people, like, I know I'm really going to push this and if it's $50, $100 that you've given to know that you can help people and their families and their children. And yeah, I think just think about it from that point of view. And I know, Connecticut, and not to downplay, because we all, little side eye, like when people are asking for money, we're always looking
If
for a way out, but
so,
not
Karen,
always, but people
And
do.
if I can just interject and
if I
say
can
that,
add, if I can jump in as well.
Go ahead, Audrey.
Okay, I just want to jump in. In terms of raising money, if you look back, you can Google this, you will notice that the JCA has been at the forefront of raising funds when disasters have hit. When the hurricane hit Haiti, when the earthquake hit Haiti, we were one of the ones that took the lead in raising money. In one night, we held a benefit concert, and we raised $10,000. That money was transferred very publicly, all the funds transferred to the Consul General of Haiti. When Jamaica was excuse me, suffered from tropical storm, I think it was Nicole, and they didn't qualify for any kind of international aid because it was not hurricane status. Again, JCA came to the aid. We took the lead, rallied, and partnered with other community organizations. Again, we raised something like $10,000. If you Google, you will see us doing the presentation of that check. And when we mobilized, they have a saying in Jamaica, every mickle make a muckle, right? We had restaurants donating a pot of rice. We had one donating a pot of soup. We sold it all. And every nickel, every penny we collected was turned over. And we were very specific to how the money was going to be spent because we wanted to know that it went to the folks on the ground. And we partnered with Food for the Poor. They told us how they were helping using that $10,000. It was in the Jamaica Gleaner. And even when a family lost 4 family members a couple of years ago in Jamaica on vacation, they didn't have money to bury their family in Jamaica. And again, the JCA, all public information, made a call out to our community. We mobilized. Again, the pot of rice and the pot of soup came into play, right? Because, restaurants, they don't make a ton of money. So they gave what they could, and we sold it all. We donated our facility that night, and we made all the money we raised. We were able to put it together. I think it was $10,000 again, or $13,000. We topped it up, gave them a check, and they were able to go down to Jamaica and bury their family. So we have a history in this community going back 20, 30 years of coming to the aid of individuals in need. And people trust us enough that when we put out the call, they know that. When we say 100% of that money is going to that cause, it goes to that cause.
And if I may if I can just jump in as well, some folks have asked me, hey, Alton, why haven't you gone, like the GoFund route? But I just want to say that with the GoFund, you got to have that for a minimum period of time, which is about 30 days. And because of how quickly this came about, we couldn't afford to wait a full 30 days because these guys may be gone home by then.
Right.
So that's why the GoFund route wasn't really an option for us, as we didn't want them to actually head back home without us putting something in their hands. So that's why we've gone this route of the email service, which can be done instantly. We can withdraw it instantly and put it to work instantly. So that is the purpose for using our email transfer service with our treasurer's email.
Exactly.
Now, I just wanted to highlight that the reason I asked those questions was not to put the esteemed, prestige, reputation of the JCA in question, because a lot of us that are involved or know their reputation. It was the people that in the states that might not know about this and just hearing about this right now are heavy USS base, and the other SNCs that may identify with what has happened and they don't know about the JCA. I wanted them to be rest assured and comfortable that that money is going to, because again, these are the questions that will be asked.
So Connecticut, did I come across too passionate?
Sorry?
Did I come across too passionate?
No, not at all. I just
and
want to make
and
sure that I was positioned
and as
that
well,
I just want to make sure that I that my
Oh no, it's
position
all
wasn't
good.
to
It's all good.
cast a shadow, but was to
if
make
I can also
comfortable
say as
and
well that when someone donates via email, you will also get an email from us with direct
Hmm.
information as far as the progress of this. So that's another reason why we suggest and encourage the payment via email, is that we can actually communicate with you as well to let you know exactly how it's been used. So again, if I can just plug this one more time, the
Hmm.
email address for the Interact transfer payment is treasurer@jcaontario.org. The password is farm workers with an S.
Hmm.
And if you can do something to help our brethren, that would be appreciated and you will be blessed.
Definitely. And we're going to continue to share this information, Kinetic Eye, and on Facebook, we'll tweet it, and definitely on Instagram, where Kinetic has a lot more followers than me too. So we'll continue to push it, and we may even come up with. Between the two of us, we might come up with some other ways of doing things and encouraging people to donate. And I definitely will be. So you guys and you you'll be able to call me out if you do not see an email come
Okay.
in from me sometime soon. So
For sure. And if I can also just say that for those who want to read up more on some of these different stories, a few of the different newspapers have carried recent articles on it. The Share magazine, the Share
okay.
newspaper has carried news on this. The Caribbean Camera, you can go online and read the stories that's been presented as well. Like I said, this week the Toronto Caribbean newspaper is carrying a feature on it. So you can definitely read about it and see exactly what's going on. Our website, jcontario.org. Our Facebook, Jamaican Canadian Association. Information is all out there. We're just asking you to help.
now, could
Perfect.
we ask, is there any idea of how little or how much has been donated so far to date?
Well, to date, I can say that between all our partners, we have raised donations probably in the range of $4,000 to $5,000. That would
Okay.
include actual items purchased on behalf of the gentleman. We've actually
Wow.
had a couple of churches who've done me a really big favor by actually using funds to go directly to the malls and buying brand new equipment for these gentlemen and bringing it directly to them on a weekly basis. So I have to give them thanks for that. And we've also got Giant Tiger, who stepped forward with
Hmm.
some gift cards for the guys that they can buy some, some socks, some clothing, some other little items that they can take back with a gift card. So we're appealing to corporates as well. If you have a corporate contact that can allow them to, like a Home Depot or just anywhere that can, provide something that the gentleman can go in and get something of value to stock up with, that's also appreciated too. And if cash is also available, that is also another viable option.
So to put
However you
into
can help.
context,
Hmm.
so to put into context, out of 32 workers that have been affected,
Hmm.
two essentially have been taken care of. So we have
Hmm.
30 more guys and ladies, or I don't know exactly
I think
what
they're all.
demographics, but it's all guys or
I think
It's
so.
all guys.
It's all men,
okay.
yes.
So we have 30 men that still need to be taken care of between now and October. So if we can appeal to the community to dig deep,
Hmm.
and their minimum wage is $2,000 that they take back with them. So you do the math. That's $60,000 minimum that we
Hmm.
need to. So we have essentially, or not we, the JCA has and Michael have essentially raised, what is that? 56. I mean, they have 56 more $1,000 to go just to break even, not to say
Hmm.
of what they've lost, but
Hmm.
just to cover their wages. So if we can double that and raise within the 30-month period, or 30-day period, if we can raise $120,000, I believe that is the goal. Can we safe to say that's where we should be at?
I love it.
Well, I do have to
Yeah,
say that, Michael, that we have about a week or the most 10 days to do that. So
And that's my question. I don't want to push it off, and I was saving this till after, but at the same time, for people who may not be able to do it right now, even though I think most people can do something right now, or maybe do something right now and do a little more later when, if it works for you in that way.
Right.
But is it once they're gone, that's it, your involvement with them? Or, I mean, I know you would prefer to do it before they go, and like you said, to have them return home with something, but
Well,
it
I
would
mean, personally, I do have direct phone numbers
contacts.
for
Okay.
most of the guys, and I do plan to keep in touch with a couple of the folks who have stepped forward as somewhat spokespersons or people for them. So if there are donations that come in after the fact and after they've left, we will certainly make sure that we contact them and get that to them, and trust that they will share equally in that respect, as we can't keep up with everyone when they're out there. As you say, the hustle and bustle of
Exactly.
life out there takes over.
Yep.
But we're hoping that the few gentlemen that we will still be able to keep in touch with can then find a way to still share in whatever else can come forward for them.
But the real push is for now. So,
The push
um,
is for now, so we can
mhm,
get it in their hands directly instead of having to worry about how do we reach them
you're
once
right.
they're out of the country.
Mhm. Mhm.
Because as mentioned, they lost all their phones. I mean, I'm not sure about a lot of people,
Gosh.
but you can't remember a phone number if you don't have your phone.
Exactly.
So yeah,
Nowadays.
for most of them, trying to remember, who to contact or who to remember up in Canada after they're gone, that's
Mm-mm.
going to be a real hard thing to do. So we're trying to help them now while they're here before they have to go.
And
Okay.
and you know what? If you want to break it down, if you say 750 people donating even $85 each,
Mm.
boom, we hit our target.
Wow. It's that. Yeah. So it's
This
doable.
is
Very.
Anything's doable.
that's
Yeah.
what I said. Yeah.
I
That's
mean.
exactly what I want to do. I wanted to put a target and a number to the and a
Mhm.
face and to the cause, and give us something to raise the community. Because when Red Cross
Hmm.
does it, they raise only and a percentage goes towards that. This is
Mhm.
100%.
Mhm.
110%, as Michael said, that's going towards this.
Alton.
And
Alton.
sorry, pardon me, Alton. I
Yeah.
thought it was so 110% is going towards it. And what it comes down to is that these people need us. It doesn't
Mhm.
matter whether you're Jamaican, whether
No.
you're Caribbean, whether you are of European descent or British descent or otherwise African descent. We are one big community. We all benefit
True.
from these people. They have,
Exactly.
they work
Their work
tirelessly in the
here.
fields. They
Mhm.
pick our vegetables and our fruits, and they
Mhm.
send it to us. And now they have suffered because they've been in this country. So I want them to realize that this is not a refugee status, but
Mm-mm.
this is a extended
Hmm.
family human status that they need to go
Hmm.
back to their homeland with nothing or with everything.
Mhm.
And that's all.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And just to reiterate,
Mhm.
these guys, they don't want a dollar more than that they've earned in this country.
Mm.
All we're doing is giving them a helping hand up. But these guys are hard workers. They
Mhm.
come here to earn what they earn, and they're happy with that. So
Mhm.
you're not helping
Bless you.
out someone who's gonna be ungrateful
Mm-mm.
to you helping them. In fact, they're going to be
Hmm.
thrilled about it. But at the same time, they're very proud people, and they
Mhm.
just come to earn an honest wage. And unfortunately, this act of God happened that really took them, by surprise and wiped out pretty much 2 or 3 years worth of work for them. But
Mm.
at the same time, these are good guys. They're family guys. They're looking after their families and extended communities. And as just human beings,
Mhm.
I just feel compelled to help them in that fashion because of the fact that we're all equal. We all have the same blood, and if
Mhm.
we're down, we'd like someone to extend a hand up for us as well. So that's what we're doing.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
And as people,
Absolutely.
like you said, who are helping themselves, it makes it so much easier. It's not,
Hmm.
I think we all have, like anybody who's has family in the Caribbean, we may have that one person that can call and just ask. Not that they're just, I'm not labeling everybody as lazy or anything like that, but there are some people who think things just come very easy, and it's how they get by is just asking and asking another and asking another. But
Hmm.
to see people who've actually, like we said, left their home where they're comfortable, who they know, who they love, and to come to this place and be among strangers, for the most part, and to be in a place that you're not 100% comfortable, because it's not luxury, where they're living. And it just, even saying that, it makes me wonder about the safety standards and other, if a place, it can happen anywhere, but if a place can, go up in flames like this, it makes you start wondering. But I mean, that's for other people to look into, and I'm sure the insurance and all this other stuff is, they're being looked into. But you just think of, okay, the type of places that they are in, and if a place can go up in flames like that, God, just, it's, the first thought I had was, thank God they were not in at the time.
That is true.
That's
so
the only thing that could have been worse, that I thought, and you always try to look for a silver line or something. But yeah, for them to leave of where they know and love, to come to work hard, not vacation, not sightsee, but to come work, and then to have to turn around and go home with less than expected and less than they even came with in some cases. It truly is heartbreaking. And so I think, I'm definitely moved to do something. I've been telling people about it. I forwarded the link. That's another thing we can do. We're all on social media. People who are listening, just send it. Send the link, copy and paste. Send it to your friends. Most people are online banking. It's so easy to do the email money transfer. You've made it extremely easy. And for people who don't, JCA, it's in North York, it's pretty central. We can all get to it if you have to go in person to make your donation in person. So I'll definitely have all that information up on all my social media, how people can do it, the different ways, and just keep reminding people as well. And I'll encourage people to do it. Like even tonight, I just did a final push and sending the link even to people in Jamaica to send it to their people and their people, just so we all know, and just using our social media for good as well, not just, some of the things that happen on social media. So I'm glad we were able to do this, and if we could share any final words, any final thoughts, if anyone has anything to say. But I'm glad, and I feel good in myself to know that at least this, like I said, it is a podcast that people can listen to. So if you're tuning in later, you've missed it, you can go back after the show has finished air. It's uploaded pretty quickly, so you can listen from the beginning to get more background on the story and our guest tonight, and hear how you can help as well. Yes, Audrey, sorry.
I was just going to say, I want folks to understand that it is doable. Because when I did the quick numbers and I said 750 people, my goodness, that's like a church congregation, right? So if people look at it in that respect, that every little bit helps, and you'd be surprised how quickly we can raise that money if we just reach out to the folks that are within our circle.
Definitely.
And I want to thank you, Karen, for giving us the opportunity to plead our case and let folks know that they can be part of the solution.
My pleasure. No, I couldn't, as soon as Michael and I spoke about it, it was like a done deal for sure. So, and I was just hoping that you can all be here because for me to sit and explain it, it wouldn't have done it any justice. So I'm so glad you were here to add all the information, all the details, and the personal stories. And that's something I wanted to, Kinetic, thanks for bringing that up, just making it, sharing the personal stories and letting us understand that these are real people. So it's so easy when we hear these stories or we see these stories in the news. And when I brought it to some people had, I think I heard something like that. But, we hear so many tragedies and things that happen. And it isn't until, someone starts speaking the details to us and pointing out facts about what was actually lost. And then, when you added the fact that, just some of them were so traumatized they couldn't even continue working. These are the things that really hit home, and I think we're going to continue sharing this to help them. And I read somewhere that there are about 30,000 farm workers that do come to Canada yearly, and so we rely on them clearly a lot, and if all of these people are paying into our the EI and paying taxes and everything. Like, think about it. They're part of Canada, you know what I mean, in more ways than one.
Mhm.
And when they push, buy local, and I personally like buying local when I go to my grocery store. So, I mean, if you think about it in that way, how we benefit as well, if you got to put that spin on it, it'll make it so much easier to see why we should support. And you don't have to be Jamaican to support, and there are workers that come from other Caribbean countries that contribute just as much. I mean, Mexico, I think, is another big place or another place where a lot of workers come from. So, and we never know. Hopefully, this doesn't happen again, but we never know where it's going to hit again. And
True.
everything you're doing now, it'll be a lot easier to get other people involved than the next time someone needs help. So. I'm glad I was able to do a small part, and I'm going to do my really, my personal part soon, and encourage everyone I know to continue doing that. So,
And I just wanted to point out, Karen, if I
yes,
sorry,
yes.
Sorry, I apologize.
No, it's okay.
That remember, these farm workers are doing 12-hour shifts and doing the jobs that we don't want to do.
We don't even sleep for 12 hours straight. We can't even sleep for 12. There's like, what do you do for 12 hours? You know what I mean? And I'm sure they must have a lunch break. But
and that would be 7 days per week without a day off too.
And that part, and and I recently, the same person I was speaking about earlier who left, I heard that because some of them I know do get weekends, some get weekends off, and I don't know how that works, or if it's just...
It's based on the employer. They decide how long and how often you work.
Right, but so I had recently heard, like just a few weeks ago, that this person, no, there is no day, and I thought, wow, like there's no one I know here in Toronto, in Ontario, that works under those conditions and those type of hours, and it's it's by choice, obviously, and people think, okay, well, they're coming from somewhere, they have the opportunity, great, but but at the same time, we're human, you know what I mean, and not machines, and okay, so they've signed up for it, they're doing it, they're okay, but now when you think of the loss they've suffered after committing to that, what we would not even think about doing, think about it in that way, and saying that these men, even for that reason alone, you'd want to support them. Like people who can actually go into a situation with these type of hours and no days off. You know what I mean? People say that a lot, right? Hashtag no days off. No, you have a choice at the end of the day. But
the other thing to keep in mind too is that when it comes to housing, it works totally different in Jamaica than it does here. Out in Jamaica, you don't necessarily have a mortgage to per se. You will build a 1-bedroom, and then the next year you'll build a bathroom, and then the next year you'll build someplace to sit, and then the next year you put a kitchen on it. So a lot of these guys, when they have this little income, they take it back home. They get masonry, they get other people, and they'll add a little piece to the home that they've been building that may take 5 to 6 years or even 10 years to finish.
Right.
So that's the thing to keep in mind there as well, that the cash that they really need goes to put a roof over their head for them and their families as well. So that addition that they plan to make, they're going to have to put off till another 8 to 10 months in Canada next year because of not having the cash to go ahead and do that. So it's just a way to humanize it. There's some that have just 1-year-old babies at home. They're hoping to bring back funds for them for formula, for buy, and for other baby shoes that they were so proud to be bringing back for them that they don't have money to buy for them right now and feel bad about that. So these are the kind of stories that we have to humanize these guys, and they're just grateful that people are trying to help them. But at the same time, they've lost a lot. They've suffered a lot emotionally as well.
Yeah.
And just talking to them for the 2 or 3 hours that we were there for, that really put a smile on their face, because they were just glad that someone was actually there, just to hear them even just say their story. Just to think that someone actually wanted to hear what they had to say, that someone valued them. and they were just so thankful for that. But they have families back home. They have mothers and in-laws and other people that they're trying to take care of. And again, we're just extending a hand to help pull them back up to where they were before, so they can continue working hard for their families. These are not guys looking for a handout. They're just looking for a hand up. And that's what we're trying to do. And if I can repeat one more time.
I was really just about to say one
right
last
out of my mouth.
The address via your smartphone, your computer, your tablet, however you want to go online, you go to your bank and you go to email payments to treasurer@jcaontario.org. The password is farmworkers with an S. And we will capture your email. We will let you know how the funds are spent. We will give you pictures of the guys. We're going to show you them smiling and being thankful for what they're getting. And, it's a great human story for us to be helping as much as we can in this situation.
Definitely.
Fabulous. And I couldn't let our broadcast come to an end without just a huge thanks to you, Karen, for taking this on and allowing us the platform to do this. Greatly appreciated. And Kinetic for bringing, some of these things to wide open play. And again, some of the things you brought up are what people fear or what people are thinking, but maybe don't know how to ask or address. And they're not the pleasant of things, and it's the plight of what these people go through every day. And, a thing that you had brought up as well is for people to understand to work. I mean, they actually pay their way to work, which is pretty amazing. And then to end up this way, I just think, look, I really believe that we can help. I really believe that. And I'm hoping that everyone listening and can tell one other person, and that person can tell another person, and, we can do this. I'm really hoping, and I thank you for this, Karen.
No, it's definitely my pleasure. I'm going to keep saying that because, there's no way I could have found out about this and not done something. And even if we didn't get to do this, I definitely had planned to mention it. And I did post about it earlier this week or end of last week, as soon as after I heard about it. So and like I said, we're going to keep pushing it, and Kinetic and I will come up with something. A way to keep pushing it.
Personally putting out there to all my listeners, or our listeners, pardon, listeners, the Facebook, the Instagram. I'm going to put a personal challenge that everybody on there at least donates something. I don't care if it's $2 or $1,000, but I'm going to be pushing it. You're going to get sick of me pushing it.
Nice. Very nice.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm hoping out of the 6,000 people that in total that follow, I'm hoping at least half donate $20. That's where I'm going to start.
Fantastic.
I mean, I look at my Facebook. I'm thinking of my Facebook numbers. I'm like, gosh, it's like about 5,000 on my friends. So I mean, I'll be a little more active. I was out the other day and people were like, "You're not on Facebook anymore. I don't really see you." And I'm like, "Yeah." So I'm like, "Here I come." So I'll definitely be pushing it there as well. And we're gonna follow up with you all at the JCA to see if. Because I want to see, I want to know, Kinetic. I want to know what we were able to do. So we'll figure out a way. We'll figure out a way to find out.
We'll track it.
Yeah, somehow.
If I have to go knocking on everybody's door, then I know I'm gonna do a crowdfund donation type thing, and I'm sure
send me proof. They're gonna send me proof. Screenshots.
Yeah, exactly.
And
I love this energy. This is fantastic.
Yeah, no, for sure.
We've got no
It's important. It's important,
At the end of the month, if needed, we can come back at the end of the month and give you guys a live update. It's not a problem.
Yeah, that would be fun. We'll do.
But in the wrap up, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No. That's a good idea. Okay, so we'll be in touch for sure. Thanks again for making the time to be
thank you,
present.
Karen.
Yes.
Thank you so much for having us.
You're welcome.
Greatly appreciated.
Thank you, Karen. Thanks, everybody.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Kinetic?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we're
So
here,
I think
and
what we need to do is,
yes,
I think we need to reiterate. You know, I hope everybody's still here, but I think we just need
yes,
to reiterate one more time
yes,
where they can, you know, donate,
yes.
and you know,
I can certainly give
because you
that
can
to
never
you
hear
one
that
more
enough.
Oh, Alton's still here. Yay.
I can give you that one more time. It
Yes.
is treasurer,
Yes.
treasurer, treasurer at jcaontario.org. The password is farm workers, and 100% of your donation will go right into the pocket of one of these affected workers who lost everything in this devastated fire that took all their belongings. And if you can help, whether it's $1 or $2 or $5 or $10 or whatever it might be, it will be appreciated and you will be acknowledged for it as well. So if you can give, please do. Again, it's treasurer at jcontario.org via your smartphone or your computer or your laptop via telebanking. The password is farm workers, one word, plural. Thank you.
And thank you. And yeah, we'll definitely post the link to the JCA site where it gives all the information, and then it also includes this information just in case you didn't catch it. So
For
we'll,
sure. We thank you
yeah.
so much once again for the exposure of the situation, and may you continue doing this great work that you do.
Thank you. You're welcome.
All right. Have a super evening again.
All right. Take
All
care.
right.
Thank you. Good night.
Okay. Oh, we got the double Alton here. Yes. Okay. And like I always remind you all, this is a podcast, as you know, and you can catch up and listen. I know quite a few of my people are out at the out at a concert tonight, and
I was about
so
to say, you read my mind.
right, they're at the concert
You so
tonight.
read my
I'm
mind.
telling you, because I've been getting all these
I'm
messages like
thinking $200 tickets and bad boys
ah,
this and bad that, and they all.
uh-huh,
Well, I'm saying is give up the one Tuesday movie. That's $30 right there. Just give up a Tuesday night movie, and
right.
you know, you can spend $200 for a Tuesday night concert. You can give up, you know, next week's Tuesday night $30 to go out to watch your movies with your popcorn and your, you know, your significant other or your date or whatever it may be.
And
Let's
think
get this
about it, you're
done,
not going to
people.
be going out as much anyway now that the weather is changing. So all this money you spent in the summer, just think about it. It's just a fraction of it will go. But no, seriously, I think people just like you heard the show, but definitely check the JCA.org, jcaontario.org website. And I have the link still up on my Instagram. So if you go to the bio, I think the link to this page is still there, and see more details and the link to donate. But seriously, Kinetic, like the conditions and they mentioned Justica, I think it is. I think that's the group that is fighting for a little more rights and for these farm workers and migrant workers that come from all over, not just from Jamaica, from the Caribbean and Mexico. And I think it's something that, you know, I had started looking into because of this, and I'm going to continue up on just, you know, we all have friends, family that whether it's directly, they're directly linked to us or through friends, there are people that we know that are coming up. And like I was mentioning, someone who left the job after a few weeks just because the conditions. And some can deal with it and just be focused on what they're here to do. But and I'm not going to jump to the fact that, oh, maybe that's lazy and, you know, not really, you know, into working hard. But you have to wonder what type of conditions these men are working in if they're expected to work 12-hour days, 7 days a
No,
week. Like, I mean, just that alone, you're like, who would do that? Not even just a Sunday off? Like, you
but
know?
my thing was, again, what I really, and sorry to cut you there, but what really, really touched me and affected me and really dug in my skin and made me get passionate about is that you had to be out on the field while your stuff was burning.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
You could not go tend to your stuff. You had to be out on the field
Hmm.
working under those conditions while you're
And
burned.
right. And then not able to even see it or go near it or just make sense of it. You know what I mean? Like just and then have to go to another strange spot, a hotel, a motel, whatever. I'm sure it wasn't again
After
luxury.
you've lost everything for
Yeah.
48 hours before you even can go back to the site.
And
So
continue
now,
working
yeah,
and then go check in
yeah,
first thing in the morning to go put in another 12-hour day, not knowing like you know what I mean, just going through your mind again like of all that you've lost and being expected to still put in the work. And I've like I was doing my little research here and seeing situations where people, because they weren't working hard enough, I mean in some cases they were sent home. Um, if they weren't bringing in, you know, doing as much or as productive as another person. And it just makes me start thinking about the people that employ them and do how they even see these men. And I mean, some are great. I remember a story. I was in Jamaica, I think last year, the year before, I can't remember, and there was a story about one of the farm owners that employ the men who actually he has gone back to Jamaica to see where and how his employees live, and he actually brought uh, some machinery, things like that to kind of help them. He donated to them, to their communities, to help them build in their home. So I'm sure there are some great stories, great men that are part of this industry as well. And he wanted to see, you know, he says, you know, I see them in Ontario, I see how hard they work. I want to see what they're able to do with what they go back home with. And he said they were still going back home short, and he found another way to help them. And so, but not everyone's like that, not every situation is going to be like that. So I'm really glad there is this group. I don't think there's a union that represents them, but there are people that are there at least looking out, and like Alton and Audrey were saying, speaking to the various levels of government about how they can be covered a little more, especially with some of them developing illnesses because of the work and the pesticides and things that they're exposed to. And once they are sick, they don't stay here for medical help. They're actually sent back home. And I just think it's crazy. And I mean, yes, it's a job, but like there are some basics that that coverage that should come with every job, right? So I
well,
don't know.
as
I
I said,
think.
they're self-employed. They pay their taxes. They pay their way here.
Mhm.
They are going back with nothing or very little. They're going back with less than what they made to a third
In
world
this case,
country.
they are for sure.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And it's 32 workers.
Mm.
And I just hope that people think about the situation that you come here for 6 months and you go back with $2,000 after all expenses,
Mm.
and you work 12 hours every day, 7 days a week.
Mm-mm. No,
It's heartbreaking. So
I
I
don't
mean,
think anybody could actually process that. Like really think about it and think about yourself doing that. And but the good thing is we're here and we are able to make a difference and help. And like I said, just they've made it so easy to just send an email, email money transfer treasurer@jcaontario.org, or go to the JCA. You can Google them and get their address, go to their website, get their address, and and just spread the word. Like just I so we sound like a fundraising show today. Those other
well,
radio shows,
no,
but this
we're
is
not a
so not.
fundraising.
Yeah, we are, but
We're situation awareness. We are
but
bringing to light because a lot of the West Indian community, a lot of the other community have heard
mhm,
rumblings, but they haven't heard about it. They don't know what's happening.
mhm,
They
mhm,
don't, like they don't have the budget. This is not like it's a budget to promote this, and it's out there that this is something that is basically swept under the rug
mhm.
do our
Because I
part.
hadn't heard about it. And I thought, oh, maybe this happened while I was in Jamaica. Why I didn't hear about it? And then, no, it actually happened before I left. And then,
If you bring this to my attention, I've never heard about it. I didn't know about it.
exactly, this is it.
As
That's
soon
why I
as you
was like,
brought it to my
Michael,
attention, I put it
yep.
out on Facebook.
As soon as Michael, we had that conversation, I text you right away. I was like, okay, this
Right.
is for Tuesday. So, and as well, Facebook as well. So and everyone I've been talking to lately, I've said, have you heard about this? Have you heard about? Some have, some didn't really know. Some are like, I think I saw something like that type of thing. And I mean, the numbers right now, I think things don't move people as much unless you hear like 30,000 people, or like 10,000. I think the numbers have to be so high and it has to be so tragic for people for it to matter. But I think this is why it was so important to do this tonight. And if there was a way that we could have heard about each and every man, his individual story, I think that would have been amazing too, just because this is what we have to look at it as, people, individuals who come. I posted a picture on Instagram, the last post I put up, and it had, I think, a couple of the guys there, but they had pictures of the aftermath, like just there, like the charred, like remains or whatever you call it. And so I think, and those I took from the image I took from the jcaontario.org website. So if you go there and just see how real the situation is and do the numbers, I mean, Kinetic did it quickly for you as far as what people are earning in a few months. And most people, you guys wouldn't accept that for like a few weeks of work. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I'm glad we were able to do this though, Kinetic.
And I just want to let people realize and add to the context of this and put it and summarize it, is that again, since July to now September, only $4,000 has been raised. That's how much exposure that this has gotten, and that's been
4 to 5. And I think that, and then he said that also includes like physical goods and stuff like that. It's not even straight cash. And I think the goods are great to sustain them here, right? Like the numbers are.
So I think people are going to get sick of me pushing this. I think it's for the next 3 days. It's going to be every day. You're going to see at least one until you becomes blind or until you do something about it. But
right,
we all know how passionate both of us are about Jamaica.
Yes.
How much we love Jamaica.
Yes.
But now this has not become a Jamaican thing. This has become a Canadian thing.
Definitely.
Because these are workers that have been coming here again for 32 years and feeding us and doing the work that, not taking away jobs, but doing the work that we wouldn't do.
No one else around here wouldn't be doing.
You
wouldn't even let your children go do that. You have your teenage boys, and I'm pretty sure no one would even say, not to put down the work that they do, because it's important work. It like you said, it benefits us, it feeds us, and in different ways. I don't know what crop they are actually working on, but a lot of people wouldn't even want their family members doing it. You know what I mean? So think about it in that way, and yeah, and the numbers, I think that's what you're getting to, and just for what they're actually earning.
And not only that, I mean, again, as I said, that with all goods and monies donated is maximum $5,000 since July. This is ridiculous. This is actually heartbreaking. I'm not a very emotional person. I'm a passionate person, but not a very emotional person. But this one struck a chord with me, especially as since you've brought this to my attention, and now hearing this live and direct from the people on the front line. I'm moved to
I know, and what Alton just said about even with their babies, some of them having little babies, and they bought things for their babies, excited to bring back. I mean, I was just there, and one of the little girls I was around, and she had her request for me, what she wanted me to bring for her next time, and was so excited. Okay, so she's like, first she was like, oh, don't go, and where are you going? Don't leave. And then when she heard, when I kind of so somewhat sealed, what's the word? I said yes to her request. And so as soon as that, and then I was able, then she said, okay, so when are you leaving? And I said, I'm leaving today. She said, oh, okay, yes. Like now she got excited about me leaving, knowing that, okay, if she leaves, that means she's coming back with my gift. And so can you imagine their own children sitting there waiting for daddy to come back next month with this or that or whatever they requested? And I'm sure some of them are older kids, maybe wanting a device or, maybe a tablet that they've wanted. Not, and I mean, anything that might help them with school or, you know what I mean? Sometimes they're creative with their requests. And knowing now that they're not getting it. So just what they're feeling down there, and then these men going back knowing they can't bring all that they need to bring and that they wanted to bring, the extra, the goodies. And it really is sad. It really is sad. So it's not pity. We're not pitying them, but it's just like, man, at least let these men go back with what they would have earned. Some of them are not going to recover. Yeah, some of them are not going to recover what they lost based on how many years they but yeah, like what you did with that quick math and saying, let's help them do that. So, I mean, I can't do that on my own. I wish I was balling like that, but I'll do my part personally and continue to encourage everyone else to do the same. So, you're going to be hearing from us, people. Remember, the podcast is available. TuneIn Radio, Stitcher, iTunes, Google Play Music, SoundCloud. If you missed any part of this, or you just want to hear it again, or you want to actually forward it to your friends, family, so they can hear firsthand for themselves what's going on. And again, Vex Radio, this is where this show is airing, and it's the best place to listen to hip hop and R&B 24/7, 365. And I'm going to speak to them possibly about putting a link up on the site as well, so, or even on the Cake page here, so to make it super easy for people to get all the information that they need. And yeah, so we're back next week. I'm sure Miss Super Nerd will be back next week, and we will touch base. Hopefully we'll have some positive news about this as well to share. And yeah, anything else you want to share, Kinetic, before we sign off?
Yeah. I just think, just on a personal note, that I'm very proud of the 21 shows now?
Yes. 21 or this number 20, something like that. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, something 21, 22 shows, but one is especially, I'm very, very, very proud that you had initiated this one, and this one is this one's a real feel good.
Yes.
And I hope that we have come across to listeners as passionate and real, and I hope that they excuse me as I get choked up here.
No.
Run with this.
Yes. Yes.
No, I'm not crying, people. I'm just choking.
No, he's really choking.
I just want people to run with this, and I want everybody, if you're listening to this, do not say, "Oh, next week." Do it now.
Yeah, because these men, they are leaving, and I think they said something about going back out to the farm the 18th of September. The JCA, I think Alton and Audrey are going back out. So that I'm actually trying to pull up my calendar to see when that would be, and that's a Sunday, so I think it makes sense. So they're trying to actually have something to bring and show, and so if we can do that before, and there are a few paydays between now and the 18th. So if you didn't get paid last week, you're getting paid this week. And if not, I'm sure you can squeeze it out of something that's coming up. And like we said, I mean, it's whatever you have. No one's putting you on the line for a specific amount. But when you think about what it costs to live nowadays, yeah, you said $2. Nah, we ain't accepting no $2. I mean, it cost me $1 to send the money transfer. So think about it in that way, and just think you're helping someone, even if it's like if you just focus on one of them. And I mean, when there's things that they'll never be able to replace, like their wedding bands and things like that, and pictures and yeah, but I think just knowing that you can do something to help someone's life, and it never is about one person down there. Like you help one person, you're helping a family. So
Right.
think about it in that way as
That's
well,
right.
right?
You are still stealing everything out of my
Oh,
mouth today. I'm loving this.
but it's true,
Exactly
right?
what's happening. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I guess we know the situation. Anybody that's coming, and it doesn't matter whether you're Caribbean or you're from a third world country. It is anybody that comes from a third world country knows is that if you're helping one person, you're helping at least 10.
Yeah.
You know whether so I mean it's so
Directly,
important.
indirectly, it all. Yeah, it definitely.
So it's so important that if all of us, I said 1, 2, 10, 1,000, whatever it may be, but you know what, I set the bar at $20. Hopefully you'll double that and make it 40. And you know if 3,000 people donate $20, that's $60,000. They're back to ground zero. Well, there's 2 short, so make it 3,002.
Yeah.
And it's back to if we're doing that, and if you donate $100, then you've taken basically 5 places or 5 positions or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
We're gonna figure out how crowdfund this and get this
I
thing happening.
know. Yeah, has to be some way. So look out for that. We will keep you posted. Literally, we'll keep posting, and we will, and I'm going to be following up, and I'll let you know, because I'll be talking to my people personally about this. I'll continue to speak to people about it and share how they can donate and just help. And like Alton said, feel good within yourself. And
your charity, get into charity, the Christmas spirit now.
I was about to say, like, think about it. Or this is a way to say thank you.
Thanksgiving now.
That's it.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving. Give thanks. For sure. For sure. So until next time, it was a pleasure as usual. I don't want to say goodbye. No, I'm kidding. And do you hear my throat, my voice? Does it sound messed up? It's like, yeah. I've been doing a lot lately, so I sound a little run down. But it's all good, and we can all laugh and smile because we're all going to help and brighten up the day of these men, and yeah. So I'm looking forward to seeing what we can do. What's that?
As I think, everybody bears a cross, but you know what?
Yes.
You can lighten your load by helping somebody else. I guess you
Definitely
get a little stronger when you people. We're all going through situations that we don't want to talk about.
Just trust me. Yes.
Some have it harder than others, but at the end of the day, you know what is $5, $10, $15, $20 to you is a big help to somebody else right now. Right?
Definitely. Yes.
So I guess any last thing, anything that you have to say?
No, but all you jerks at the Bad Boy show.
Yeah, without us,
boo to you. No, this one, I'm calling you. He's not even listening because he's down there now. I had the nerve to say, "Oh, I was calling you to invite you if you wanted to come down." I was like, "Yeah, right." Like, when did you call? And I'm like, easy to say knowing I'm doing this show, but yeah, I wouldn't have gone anyway. I had better things to do. Yeah. No, for sure. I was already locked into something bigger, but yeah. So, but I'll be hitting them up too. I'll be like, okay, yeah, you've missed, so let me give it to you straight. Here's the deal. But
I wish there was some way we could get it to P. Diddy and his family to
do you know how I was thinking about that? Because I've had 2 people since we were talking about it message me and say, I'm here. I'm at the BB, she says, one of them, the BB concert. I was like, whatever. Like, but I was thinking if someone could run up on stage right now and say something, how dope would that be? But yeah, maybe not.
Yeah, well, wishful thinking, but you know what? let us figure out in the week. I'm sure you, and Mr. Entrepreneur, will knock our heads together and
Yeah.
figure it out.
No, we're gonna talk because
Right now,
I have an idea,
yeah,
but I don't know what you're thinking. But
right
we'll
now,
talk.
social media. As I say, right
Yes.
now, it's social media. But maybe we can get something happening at the JCA, and
Hey, see now you're reading my mind.
uh,
We'll figure something out for sure, for sure. Okay. So until next time, people, take care. Kinetic, have a great night.
thank you. Good night. Good night. Good
All
night.
right. Good night. Good night.